Hi, and welcome back to U.S. History with me, Mr. Snyder, and today we are going to discuss something probably familiar to all of you, but do you know the history behind it? The computer and technology revolution of the 1990s. Learning targets today are to discuss the development of the computer from World War II until now and its impact on business and industry. We'll analyze the impact of new technology on communications, and we'll explain how globalization and the rise of the service economy affects the American economy. And so let's go ahead and get started. World War II, remember, pits the Axis and the Allied powers against each other to develop new technologies first. We were racing against each other for all types of things. The most famous we've talked about is the atomic bomb, but also to develop the computer. And the U.S. government develops the first computer in 1946. It takes up an entire research lab in a basement, and it can only do simple calculations like artillery firing calculations and calculations for the atomic bomb. After World War II, universities and corporations help the government fund efforts to develop modern computers. And the first modern computer was introduced by IBM, or International Business Machines, in 1954, and it was its 704 models. You can see it here. It runs on vacuum tubes, so no microchips or anything. That comes later. And Silicon Valley companies just south of San Francisco there developed the microchip and microprocessor in the 1960s. And these have become ever more powerful over the decades. But these chips make it possible to have smaller, more powerful computers for individuals, not just for corporations. And these are called personal computers, or PCs, as you probably know it. In the 1980s, computers become more mainstream and transform the way industries, research, and commerce happens. Basically, they're now small and simple enough for the average person to use, but they can still perform many tasks, and they're very powerful. Not powerful compared to today's computers, but powerful for the time. At first, it was in the 1960s and 70s, it was just like for nerds, so to speak, and hobbyists who wanted to build computers to see if they could do it. But that technology they developed spreads to other industries as well. Video games run on microchips, cell phones, cameras, all depend on these microchips and microprocessors. Steve Jobs and Bill Gates were at the forefront of developing these computers and software affordable enough for millions of Americans. You can see here the Apple II computer, released in 1984. You can see the Mac OS operating system, the logo for Windows, and also Amazon.com and eBay.com transform e-commerce, or using computers to buy and sell things online. And here you can see Amazon's first logo, much different from today. So people dub the late 1900s through now the information age. So we've gone from the industrial age and the agricultural age to the information age, because information is power. And communication via technology, cell phones, computers, email, whatever, is now the tools we use to gain information. And also it has kind of a leveling effect, because before we had people with information and people who didn't. Now anyone with access to a computer can acquire information that usually was once only available to a few privileged individuals. So it has kind of a leveling effect and makes it more democratic in a way. It makes everybody more equal with access to the information that's out there. And now you just have to know what to do with it. Satellites are mechanical devices. I know you know what a satellite is, but it's a mechanical device that orbits Earth and receives and sends information signals from and to televisions, phones, and computers. At first, satellites are used for military purposes, but then Ted Turner also uses it to launch his superstation in the 1970s, and also CNN broadcasts in the 1980s, and we get all these new cable channels, which before it was only broadcast television. And the internet is developed. Computers are linked together via cables and satellites. It's originally used for government and university research purposes, but in the 1990s it becomes widespread with access to all. Before they had dial-up modems where you had to use your phone line. Now they have dedicated DSL and T1 lines able to connect computers together for very fast access. Communication, because of the internet and because of text messaging and cell phones, becomes almost instantaneous. This completely transforms commerce, education, research, and entertainment. Nobody buys CDs anymore. You download it from the internet. You don't go to a library for research anymore. You look on the internet. In education, we do projects on the internet, and you buy things online. Never used to be like that before the 1990s. Globalization happens because of this computer revolution, and globalization is the process by which the economics, politics, cultures, and societies become integrated with those from other countries around the world. So we have multinational corporations doing business outside of the country. They're based in America, but they do business in other countries, as you can see from these pictures. KFC in China, Pizza Hut in Egypt, and so on. There's advantages and disadvantages to this. The advantages is it makes more products and services available to a greater number of people around the world. And it even quickens the development of some nations where these multinational corporations are based from. The disadvantages is that the simple manufacturing jobs are now outsourced to a less developed nation, where workers may not enjoy the protections and wages that are available to those in developed nations. And this one is probably the biggest. We have one giant world economy now. So economic problems that are felt in one area of the world will most certainly be felt in another. The recession of 2008 in the United States was felt all over, even though it only happened and started in the United States. And finally, our economy over the last 50 years or so has turned into a service economy because we're shipping production jobs overseas and we are increasing the amount of our service jobs. Service jobs range from lawyers, teachers, bankers, doctors, police. Anybody who provides a service is in the service economy. And so that's your learning targets for today. Fill them out and bring them back to class, and I will talk to you later. Bye-bye.